If you've crossed the 50-year mark, you've likely noticed a decline in your physical strength. Tasks like opening a jar, carrying groceries, or getting up quickly from a chair may have become more challenging. It's critical to understand that these aren't just signs of aging, but symptoms of a well-documented and progressive clinical condition. This condition has a clinical name: sarcopenia, the progressive loss of muscle mass, strength, and function. It's not just about aesthetics. We're talking about a decline that directly impacts your metabolism, significantly increases the risk of falls and fractures, and compromises your long-term independence. The data is clear. While the process begins around age 30, it accelerates sharply after 50, with studies showing that muscle mass loss can reach up to 2% per year at this stage of life. However, science offers a powerful counteroffensive, and it starts with the first meal of the day. Did you know that your kitchen is a laboratory where you can wage one of the most important battles for your longevity and quality of life? And that a specific combination of ingredients in your breakfast can be your most effective tool? I'm Dr. Grace Prescott. My goal here is clear: to provide you with a practical, evidence-based manual so you can start rebuilding your muscle strength intelligently and effectively. Stay with me as we'll break down, step by step, the science behind a nutritional formula that's empowering thousands of people to reclaim control of their energy and vitality. That feeling that your muscles are losing their responsiveness is an important physiological signal. For individuals over 50, the likely diagnosis is sarcopenia, a clinical condition characterized by the loss of muscle mass that compromises strength and functional independence. It's a frustrating process where biology seems to work against your goals. However, nutritional science offers a strategic intervention. There's a specific breakfast combination that acts as a secret weapon against this decline. Keep watching, as I'll detail the exact recipe and, crucially, the scientific basis that will allow you to begin an effective muscle rebuilding process starting tomorrow. To implement an effective strategy, it's critical to understand the adversary. Sarcopenia isn't just medical jargon, it's a physiological process with real consequences. Think of your muscle mass as the structural integrity of a building. Sarcopenia acts like a thief that, night after night, removes a fundamental brick from that structure. Initially, the damage is imperceptible, but over time, the cumulative loss compromises the entire structure, leading to weakness, instability, and loss of functionality. That's exactly what happens to your muscle tissue. As we age, this catabolic process accelerates. But here's the key point, the message of hope I want you to hold on to. This is not an inevitable sentence. It's a condition we can address and combat with two scientifically validated tools under our control: nutrition and resistance exercise. Many people accept this loss of strength as a normal consequence of aging. And yes, there are natural changes, but sarcopenia is different. It's an accelerated deterioration that triggers a systemic domino effect, negatively impacting your overall well-being, from metabolic regulation to bone density. Let's break down the systemic consequences of sarcopenia through what I call the physiological domino effect. The first domino: risk of falls and postural instability. Weakness in the muscles of the legs and core, which are critical for body stabilization, leads to a direct decline in balance. As a result, a simple stumble, which you would have neurologically corrected without effort before, can become a fall. Clinically, falls are one of the leading causes of serious injuries, fractures, and loss of independence in people over 50. The second domino: metabolic dysregulation. Your muscle tissue is the body's primary metabolic engine, responsible for a significant portion of your basal metabolic rate, or the calories you burn at rest. Losing muscle is like shutting down several of those engines. The result is a reduction in daily calorie expenditure, which not only facilitates fat accumulation, particularly visceral fat, but also significantly increases the risk of developing insulin resistance and type 2 diabetes mellitus. This creates a vicious feedback loop. Less muscle leads to a slower metabolism, which promotes fat gain and excess adipose tissue. In turn, releases inflammatory cytokines that degrade the health of the remaining muscle. And the third domino: loss of functionality. Sarcopenia manifests clinically in the difficulty of performing activities of daily living, ADLs. The grip strength to open a container, the power to lift a grandchild, the endurance to climb stairs, or the strength to get out of bed. It's about losing the ability to engage with the world autonomously and independently. The impact extends to our skeleton. Strong muscles exert a continuous tensile force on bones, a mechanical stimulus essential for maintaining bone mineral density. Weak muscles result in more fragile bones, increasing the risk of osteosarcopenia, the dangerous combination of muscle and bone loss. The etiology behind this is multifactorial. It involves hormonal changes, a state of low-grade chronic inflammation, and crucially, a phenomenon known as anabolic resistance. As we age, our body becomes less efficient at converting dietary protein into new muscle tissue. It's as if the workers responsible for muscle repair become slower. But here's the key to intervention. We can overcome this resistance. We can provide the substrates and triggers needed to reactivate those workers. And there's a biological window of opportunity to do this most effectively, the morning period. Most individuals, particularly after age 50, make a fundamental strategic mistake with their first meal of the day. Breakfast is often treated as a mere formality to curb hunger, resulting in the consumption of foods with inadequate nutritional profiles. Coffee paired with simple carbohydrates like cookies, sweet breads, or high glycemic cereals. In the worst-case scenario, breakfast is skipped entirely. From a biochemical perspective, these breakfasts are counterproductive. They're the equivalent of sending a construction crew to a work site without providing essential materials, like bricks. What they deliver is a glycemic spike, leading to a massive insulin release followed by an abrupt energy crash. More critically, they lack the macronutrient most vital to your muscles at that moment, high bioavailability protein. Why does breakfast hold such physiological importance? Consider this. After an 8 to 12-hour overnight fast, your body enters a catabolic state. To maintain vital functions, it initiates processes like gluconeogenesis, using amino acids from muscle tissue breakdown as a substrate. This is a subtle but constant and daily process of wear and tear. Upon waking, your muscles are in a state that demands an anabolic rescue. Breakfast is your first and most critical opportunity to interrupt this catabolic state and flip the switch to muscle protein synthesis mode. While protein distribution throughout the day is important, starting the day with an adequate and strategic dose has a disproportionately positive impact on preserving and building lean mass. The breakfast protocol I'm about to present is not a random suggestion. It's been structured around 4 scientific pillars, each with a clear physiological function and a specific mission in combating sarcopenia. Pillar number 1, high biological value protein, the structural substrate. This is the master pillar of our intervention. If muscle is a structure, protein provides the substrates for its construction. However, quality is imperative. We need a complete protein that delivers the full spectrum of essential amino acids. Among them, leucine stands out as the primary anabolic trigger, the signal that initiates muscle protein synthesis. With aging, we develop a degree of anabolic resistance, meaning the body requires a higher leucine threshold to kickstart this construction. Thus, a leucine-rich breakfast isn't an option. It's a physiological necessity. Primary sources include eggs, Greek yogurt, and cottage cheese. Pillar number 2, strategic lipids, anti-inflammatory modulation. Sarcopenia is exacerbated by a state of low-grade chronic inflammation. Think of it as metabolic rust that degrades tissues. Strategic lipids, particularly omega-3 fatty acids, act as potent anti-inflammatory agents. They modulate inflammatory pathways, lubricate joints, and, crucially, enhance muscle cell sensitivity to growth signals. In our protocol, these lipids are provided by avocado and chia seeds, fats that help optimize the biochemical environment for hypertrophy. Pillar number 3, low glycemic carbohydrates, protective energy. The demonization of carbohydrates is a nutritional misconception. We must distinguish refined carbohydrates and sugars are harmful. Complex, fiber-rich carbohydrates are strategic allies. Your muscles need glycogen for repair. Without a quality carbohydrate source, the body may resort to protein catabolism for energy, a process called gluconeogenesis. Essentially, you'd be burning your protein as fuel. That's why a slow-release carbohydrate source like 100% whole grain bread is critical. It provides sustained energy and exerts a protein-sparing effect, ensuring amino acids are used for reconstruction. Pillar number 4, vitamins and minerals, essential cofactors. These micronutrients are the sparks that catalyze biochemical reactions. In this battle, vitamin D and calcium form a synergistic duo. Calcium is vital for bone health, but vitamin D is essential for its absorption and, additionally, has direct receptors in muscle tissue, contributing to contraction and strength. Furthermore, vitamin C, found in citrus fruits, is a critical cofactor for collagen synthesis, the structural matrix that supports your muscles. Finally, antioxidants in fruits and vegetables combat oxidative stress, protecting muscle cells from damage that accelerates sarcopenia. Now that the 4 pillars have been scientifically established, let's move to the practical application, combining them into a functional and optimized breakfast. Let's get to the practical application. We're going to build this functional breakfast together, which should be understood less as a meal and more as a strategic intervention. The goal is to send a clear anabolic signal to your body, halting overnight catabolism. Each component has been selected for its specific biochemical function. Component 1, whole grain bread, the low glycemic energy base. We start with a slice of 100% whole grain bread. Label verification is mandatory. The first ingredient must be whole grain flour. This is our complex carbohydrate base. As you toast it, consider its dual function. The fiber modulates the glycemic response, providing sustained energy release and acts as a prebiotic, optimizing gut microbiota and, consequently, the absorption of subsequent nutrients. Component 2, avocado, the anti-inflammatory lipid component. On the toasted bread, apply half a ripe avocado. Avocado is a primary source of monounsaturated fatty acids and bioactive compounds. As you spread it, consider its powerful anti-inflammatory effect, which works to modulate systemic inflammatory pathways that exacerbate sarcopenia. Additionally, its high potassium content, surpassing that of a banana, is critical for muscle contraction and electrolyte balance. Component 3, the egg, the primary leucine source. The centerpiece, 1 egg, prepared boiled or on a griddle with a minimal amount of olive oil. It's worth debunking the cholesterol myth. Modern science has shown that, for the majority of the population, dietary cholesterol has minimal impact on blood cholesterol levels. Individuals with pre-existing conditions should, however, consult their physician. The egg is a nutritional powerhouse. It provides high biological value protein, vitamin D, choline, and crucially, our key amino acid for protein synthesis, leucine. Place it on the avocado. Component 4, cottage or fresh cheese, the slow-release protein booster. We're not stopping there. To ensure we hit the leucine threshold needed to maximize the anabolic response, add a booster. Use approximately 30 grams of low-fat fresh cheese or cottage cheese on top of the egg. This dairy not only increases protein intake, but introduces casein, a slow-digesting protein that promotes a gradual and sustained delivery of amino acids to the bloodstream, maintaining a positive nitrogen balance for hours. Component 5, yogurt with seeds, the probiotic and omega-3 support. In a separate small bowl, a portion of plain, unsweetened yogurt. It serves as our vehicle for probiotics for gut health and an additional calcium source. To optimize it, add a tablespoon of chia or hemp seeds. These seeds are nutrient powerhouses, providing fiber, protein, and one of the most concentrated plant-based sources of alpha-linolenic acid ALA, an omega-3 precursor. Component 6, citrus fruit, the collagen synthesis cofactor, to accompany an orange or tangerine. Its function goes beyond flavor. It's your strategic dose of vitamin C and antioxidants. Vitamin C is an indispensable cofactor in the hydroxylation of proline and lysine, critical steps in collagen synthesis, the structural protein that comprises the connective tissue of your muscles, ensuring their integrity. Look at this plate. What you see isn't just food, it's applied nutritional engineering. You have a sustained release energy source, anti-inflammatory lipids, a triple high biological value protein source rich in leucine, gut health support, and a comprehensive antioxidant matrix, all in one strategic meal. If this evidence-based approach resonates with you and you're already planning the logistics to implement this protocol tomorrow, I ask that you take a brief moment to support the channel. It's a simple process. Hit the like button so the YouTube algorithm disseminates this information to a broader audience in need of quality scientific content. And if you haven't already, I invite you to subscribe and turn on notifications. We publish weekly content focused on optimizing health and performance in the second half of life. It's a free service, and your engagement is critical to the continuity of our work. Let's continue. Why does this specific combination work so effectively? You might think it's just a sum of healthy ingredients. However, the true power of this recipe lies in the functional synergy between its components. The result isn't the sum of the parts, it's a multiplication of benefits. First, the strategic leucine spike. The combination of egg, cheese, and yogurt ensures you hit the recommended protein threshold for an anabolic breakfast, between 25 and 30 grams. More importantly, it creates a pronounced leucine spike in the bloodstream. This spike is the most potent molecular signal for the mTOR pathway, the primary regulator of muscle protein synthesis. Essentially, it's the trigger that tells your muscle cells to stop catabolism and start building. Second, the protective energy balance. This is where the role of lipids and carbohydrates becomes critical. The slow-release energy from whole grain bread and avocado provides the body with the clean fuel it needs for morning activities. This is vital because it exerts a protein-sparing effect. Without an adequate energy source, the body would catabolize muscle protein for gluconeogenesis. This mix ensures every gram of protein is allocated to its structural and reparative function. Third, the combined anti-inflammatory shield. The efficacy isn't just in the omega-3s from avocado and seeds, it's in their combination with the antioxidant matrix provided by the fruit. Together, they create a systemic environment that mitigates low-grade chronic inflammation, a physiological state known to inhibit muscle protein synthesis. A less inflamed body is a more anabolic body. And fourth, optimize nutrient absorption. You can consume the best nutrients, but if your gut absorption capacity is compromised, the effort is wasted. The probiotics in yogurt, in synergy with the prebiotic fiber from the bread and seeds, promote a healthy gut microbiota. A healthy gut maximizes the absorption of every gram of protein, every vitamin, and every mineral this breakfast provides. Let's look at two practical cases that illustrate the impact of this intervention. James, 63 years old. His breakfast consisted of coffee and toast with jam, resulting in reactive hypoglycemia and fatigue by 11 a.m. After adopting this protocol for 1 month, he reported stable energy throughout the morning and a noticeable increase in lower limb strength. Another example is Sarah, 59 years old, who combined this nutritional protocol with a simple strength training routine. Her physical therapist reported measurable improvements in grip strength tests and postural stability. These aren't miracles. They're the predictable physiological outcomes of providing the body with the right substrates at the metabolically optimal moment. We've covered considerable ground in this session. We've unmasked the pathophysiology of sarcopenia, understanding it not as a condition to be accepted, but as an adversary that can be combated with strategy. And I've provided you with the blueprint for one of your most effective tools, this functional breakfast. So, what are the key takeaways? First, sarcopenia is a real clinical condition, accelerating after age 50, that compromises strength and autonomy. Second, the battle against muscle catabolism is daily, and breakfast is a critical battleground to reverse overnight wear and initiate protein synthesis. Third, the key is nutritional strategy. Remember the pillars: a high dose of leucine-rich protein, complex carbohydrates, and monounsaturated lipids to protect it, and a shield of micronutrients and antioxidants. View this breakfast not as a diet, but as an act of biohacking and empowerment. It's a way to nourish your body with a clear and measurable purpose, to build a physiologically stronger and more resilient version of yourself for the decades ahead. Chronological age is a variable, not a sentence. With the right tools, like this synergistic mix, and combining it with resistance exercise, you're taking active control of your metabolic and muscular health. Now, I'm issuing a practical challenge. Test this recipe, but not just tomorrow. Commit to implementing it for 1 consecutive week. 7 days. Monitor the difference in your energy levels and disposition. Observe how your body responds to this nutritional intervention. And at the end of the period, return to this video and report your results in the comments. Share your experience. Your data could be the inspiration and validation another individual needs to start their own journey. Lastly, if this information was valuable, share it. Send this video to a friend, your partner, or your parents. Disseminate this knowledge to anyone over 50 who deserves to live with their full functional capacity. Don't let your muscles waste away in silence. Provide the nutrients, apply the stimulus, and reclaim the active, fulfilling life that science shows is possible. Thank you for your attention. I'll see you in the next video.